Welcome back. This channel is geared towards young men who find today's society confusing. Previously, I discussed how men surrender power through intellectual laziness. Men surrender power through surrendered thinking. This will be a short video since the concepts are similar to the two previous videos. It is extremely important for a man to think for himself as much as possible. What I mean by surrendered thinking is when one allows another to think for him. In today's society, this is very common. Now, in certain cases, such as consultation with a physician or an attorney, it is necessary to surrender thinking to experts, but never totally. Always ask possible outcomes from a few different courses of action. An example could be, what if I don't take this medicine? Or what happens if a certain clause is taken out of a contract? Copying. Students that copy, do not do their own work, are in effect surrendering their thinking to others. This is where I got this concept. Many times when I am teaching, I will see students copying from their peers. I try to tell these students that when they copy from someone else, that they are surrendering their thinking to the other person. I tell these students that it is important that they do the work themselves in order to learn the material. Sadly, some of these students do not want to learn, so my advice is ignored. If you are in school, please try to learn the subject matter and not surrender your thinking by copying from another student. It inhibits your learning and weakens your power. Modern technology makes it easy for people to surrender thinking. It is important to occasionally disconnect from technology in order to exercise thinking. Years ago, I was a substitute in a continuation school, and a few hours a day the class was in a computer lab. These students were to read chapters on a computer and then answer a series of questions based on what they had previously read. Well, many of these students would skip the reading part and skip right to the answers. They would use Google to quickly answer the questions. After the chapter was completed, the questions and answers would quickly be forgotten, and thus no actual learning would take place. A good way to disconnect is to try to drive through a town or city without using a navigator in the car to tell you how to get to your location. Use a map app to figure out a route and then try to drive to your destination by looking at road signs. It can be done. I do it, and my generation and generations before me have done it. Be aware of advertising, programming, and people that will appeal to your emotions to make decisions that are not in your best interest. The nature of modern media is such that it is possible for a man to react emotionally and make decisions that are against his best interest. Many aspects will be one-sided against men. For example, the concept of an eligible bachelor is a man with a good job and relatively handsome. Many men will strive to be such a man in order to be appealing to women. If a man lacks these qualities, he is not considered eligible, and thus not worthy of a woman's affections. Many men that do not live up to this expectation might become depressed, and society will never give a damn about such men. Contrast that concept with the concept of all women deserve love. A woman has no responsibility to make herself appealing to the opposite sex. Females that are less attractive and thus denied male attention are told that it is the fault of society, and thus society must be changed in order to accommodate her desires. Many men will not question this contrast and thus feel guilty when they are not attracted to a female that desires them and give in to societal expectations that he has been led to believe that he must follow. He has thus surrendered his thinking to modern media by not questioning a narrative that is not in his best interest to accept. When a man surrenders his thinking to other people, he gives up power to those people. Think when others demand that you do not think. Always be aware of those in power that demand absolute obedience without thought. Many times in employment, it is necessary to follow the directions of superiors when in a subordinate position. However, always consistently gauge whether your superior is invested in advancing your career or is using you for his or her advancement. Sadly, there are those superiors that are so selfish to use subordinates until these subordinates are no longer useful and then discard them without remorse. Be aware of such situations and think through your options. Exercise your mind and think for yourself. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Thanks for listening.